to It Takes a Family, a podcast that helps take parenting from desperation to hope. I'm one of your hosts, Andy.
And I'm your co-host, Kelly. Once a week, we will highlight experts and other parents like you who have been in the trenches of parenting, bringing hard lessons learned and insights on how to navigate even the most difficult of family circumstances.
All right, and in this episode, we have brought back John Cunnings.
Bonus episode.
Bonus episode,
Bonus.
yes.
Yes.
John, as we had that conversation, it was great. We're like learning to do this podcast thing. We got to 30 minutes and we were like, I guess we got to cut. And we cut and we're like, we didn't finish. Like there was so much more. So today we'll keep going and we will kind of finish this balance of nurture structure, part 2 with John. Mm-hmm. Plus, you did a great job, and the people have been saying more John Cunnings.
People. Well, I've got to please the people.
We've got to please the people. So, I did want to say this too on the front end. So much of what we're talking about comes in this book, Choosing to Train, by Greg Smith and Candace Couch. Mm-hmm. They have helped to train and helped to be consultants to us over the years. We use this book in the program regularly.
Yeah, it's decades, I think.
Decades that they've been helping us. Yeah, the book is a couple years old, and it's been helpful in our program. And so we would invite you to pick that up on Amazon and read through it. The language of control versus training, as well as these kind of 5 steps we'll talk about today, are both in that book.
Yes.
And I also just want to encourage our listeners, if you missed John's first episode, it is really worth going back and listening to. I kind of call this, like, we got super practical last time. Like, I walked away with like 5 things, like, I'm going to try these things. So just real quickly, a reminder about who John is, besides just being awesome. John Cunnings is the director of our boys program. He has been here over 20 years. He started when he was like 12, I think. So
it's about 12 years old.
Yeah. So, but started out as a program assistant, went on to be had a house parent season for many, many years, and then now he actually oversees the program, the boys portion of the program. So you've seen a lot.
Yeah, worked with a lot of kids, a lot of different families. Had a little stint in the school, so I had that angle of like as an educator and how to manage classrooms, and which is challenging.
Well, well, thank you for coming back for more today. So
yeah.
All right, this is an unfair question that I'm going to start with because we did a 30-minute episode, and I would like for you to condense it into 1 minute. Give us just sort of the quick review. You should go back and listen to it, but if you don't, give us help us frame this episode. 60-second review last time.
Yeah. We talked about having a posture of structure and nurture. It's something that's very familiar with any parenting book you read. There's some balance element to it. Some call it connecting and correcting. Some call it empathy and structure. And we, as we've done our research, we call it nurture and structure, or structure and nurture. But they work together. You don't want to do one or just the other. They both are in concert. We kind of use that analogy of like a cool tie-dyed shirt where you're structured in your nurturing, and you might be a little nurturing in your structure, where they're working together. And the nurturing is, a little bit more what comes probably pretty naturally as a child grows, where you're being loving and supportive and hugs and all the good feeling kind of stuff. And then there's also structure that fits in as a child grows, where you're trying to take a training posture that has really a lot of biblical foundations to it, training, discipline. But sometimes that has a bad rap, but small things, what are small things that we can train our kids to do so that, when they're small, they can have little small training, discipline things that they're practicing, because as they grow, they'll grow into larger things. So it's even another biblical principle of, when you're faithful with the small things, you'll be faithful with the large things. So,
Training gets a bad rap because people are in a control posture, though.
Exactly.
You've talked about trying to get control, but like I think discipline gets a bad rap in some ways because the parent is trying to control the child, and the child grows up and feels that reality that it wasn't a loving, nurturing discipline. It was a you will be this discipline.
Yes. Yeah, it's a discipline that's trying to instill like fear or shame, I would say. Like and that's where it's like the rod of discipline. Sometimes you have that old school kind of like I need to hurt you so that you don't do the thing that really you're just going to do because you have a sin nature, and it's just a part of growing up, you know. So yeah, when you get controlling, you can definitely do it in a not good way.
Right.
So that's a great point.
So in the first episode, we got like the practical of it in some ways is what we call the choice consequence. That's not like proprietary language. A lot of people have choices and consequences all over the place. But we have kind of a little bit of a system and 5 steps to that system. Again, coming from Choosing to Train and Greg. And so review for us the first 3 steps that you talked about.
Okay. So first step is identifying your conviction. So really, what matters to you as a parent? What are the things that convict you that, hey, when my kid grows up, I wish they're like blank. They might be respectful, trusting, loving, hard worker, you know. So identify your convictions. The second is identify behaviors that lead your child to the convictions. So this is thinking a little more like you got to break it down into small steps. So if it's education, you know, it might be like, hey, we're going to read every day for 30 minutes, you know, some kind of behavior. The third is you got to set it up. You've got to set up choices and consequences that are reasonable, enforceable, and simple. Stuff that's not too hard for a kid to understand, where you can help them understand, if I choose this, then this is going to happen. So those are kind of the 3 that we got through last time.
Good. Cool. All right. So what's number 4?
Okay.
The people, they've been waiting weeks, dying.
Yes. So, and it's funny because I'm going to say it, you're going to be like, that sounds really simple, but it's actually really hard, which is step 4, allow the choice. So you have to allow your child to do the thing that you don't want them to do, which is very hard. You know, it gets into that controlling thing because you have to have an attitude that gives them permission to choose and experience whatever it is, which is hard.
So can you take an example of this, and maybe it'll help us as we're kind of thinking through these 5 steps. Like, so what would be a choice consequence example that you would want to share? Yeah,
like, you know, one that I've used in the past, you know, I had you know, it triggers me sometimes when my kids just would scream in the house, like super loud at each other.
In a negative way or positive way or both?
More negative, where they're either yelling at each other or, you know, when I was a house parent and, you know, we had 7 boys in a house. Like, if everybody chooses to yell, it gets pretty chaotic pretty fast. And especially if kids are really triggered with loud noises, which there's always a few that are, it can get spiral really fast. So that was my conviction was, I don't think yelling all the time is a real good form of communication.
Right.
So I had to break it down and think of a behavior, which the behavior I was trying to train was teaching the child how to like have a normal volume, like which we in our house we called it an inside voice. You know, you can speak with an inside voice, but when you're outside, you can speak with outside voice. So the setting it up would be like a statement like, if you choose to continue yelling in the house, you will receive 10 minutes of porch time, or you can call it timeout, where it was like, here's what's going to happen. And so step 4 would be allow the choice. So I have to let yelling happen. I can't just jump all over it, and I have to be okay with, okay, somebody's going to yell in the house. And when they yell, you kind of walk up and say, hey, you chose to yell. You know, your porch time will start as soon as you're kind of seated and quiet, and I'll come and check on you. And so that's kind of how the steps kind of flow.
That makes sense.
But it sounds easier than it really is, because in all of those points, you're going to want to be reactive, especially if it's something that triggers you as a parent.
Yeah.
Like, because when you have convictions, you don't like your convictions getting stepped on,
right?
in a sense. And so, it's a humbling process, I would say.
We're training ourselves.
Yes. And that's the area that I personally feel like I struggle the most with, is allowing the choice, because I try to almost, I like to like talk them out of it, like, remember, don't, like, if you could, are you sure? Like, remember what's on the other side of this? Like, you could potentially lose your show, or what, go on porch. And so, opposed to just like non-reactively in a nurturing posture, like allowing them to do it and then going, oh, bummer.
Yeah.
I hate that you made that choice. It's hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. And it takes practice. Like, as much as the child is learning something new, a new behavior, in a lot of ways, you as a parent are too.
Yeah.
Right.
You're learning
absolutely.
how to do it well, how to be calm, which is so hard.
And nurturing, because you're probably mad, you know? And,
Yeah, or if you're not a naturally assertive person that doesn't want to go toe-to-toe maybe and ask a child to go to a porch or something, you're going to cower. So I like to say, like, to parents, try and take like a calm, assertive posture. Yeah. Like, you're there, you're going to control your emotions, but you're not going to back down. You're not going to run away.
Yeah.
So you kind of got us to 4, allow the choice. You hit on 5 for a second, but give us, what is number 5?
So 5 is give the consequence. Okay. So you allow the choice, but then after that choice is made, you've got to follow through. And that's almost like the icing on the cake as far as like the steps, because if you don't do that, it builds like really confusion, mistrust. If you don't follow through with what you say you're going to do, your child's going to be confused. They're going to be like, Dad's a pushover. Like, he doesn't do what he says.
It almost makes it worse in some ways.
It does,
like,
And like, kids that need security need to know that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. Yeah. Even if it is a consequence that they're not going to enjoy, but then you're not afraid of that. Yeah. You're like, I'm doing this. I'm trying to teach this, give this child this opportunity to practice his conviction because I love them.
Yes.
Right.
You know, because I know the extrapolation of this behavior they're having as maybe a toddler. Man, in 10 years, that's going to be a scary human. Like, if I don't lean in to this moment, and as you know, to reference last time, you don't have to get it every time. Yeah. You know, 40 to 50%, you're good. Like, it's not like 100%. I need to ride my kid every time they scream or you catch them. Yeah. You're going to miss some of those pitches. And that's okay.
What is a reasonable number of convictions that you want to be kind of training towards at any given time?
Ooh,
is that fair?
That's a great question. I mean, I think that would be kind of up to you. I mean, if you're like me, a kind of single dad, but I'm kind of working in conjunction with their mother, like, we've got to be creative in being like, you know, good parents, not putting our kids in the middle of things.
Maybe asking each other, like, what are you seeing?
Like,
are
hey,
you seeing
what are you
this?
seeing? Yeah. Like, right now, our biggest boundaries around like technology and being present. So we're trying to think of boundaries around that. But I'd say 1 to 5, like, start out with that. Yeah. Like, that's just what pops into my head. Okay. At least 1.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like, start with 1. Don't overwhelm yourself with 5 if you're like, 5? But just think about yourself and about your child. And like, for me to love them, what do I want them to kind of remember about what I was trying to instill in them? Yeah. And usually something will surface, you know, like, I was talking with some parents the other day, and it was respect. Like, I want my child to grow up and be somebody that knows how to respect people.
Yeah.
So
John and I were at a conference together last week, and one of the things the guy said is that instead of sprinting, we want to plod.
Great.
And he was like, little by little. And so as you were saying that, like, you might get to a point that you have 10 to 15 convictions that you're working, but it didn't start with, all right, we've got a new system. There's 15 things you can't do. Right? Like, okay, did you plod? And they understood, and it built on top of each other. And so they still know that there's that consequence for yelling in the house. But as that's improved, or as that's sort of gone, like, you're not giving it as often, but it's still a conviction.
It's still there.
There's still a consequence that comes up. So I was, as you were talking about, I was thinking about that plodding.
Steady plodding, or sometimes I'll tell parents it's like watching a tree grow. Like, there's this, you're not going to notice the change is happening. You just have to trust the process, be faithful in the process, but at the same time, abandon the outcomes. That's another kind of saying that I try and use just to encourage parents, and even myself at times, is you see your child every day. So you're not going to notice the impact that this just steady, okay, the 50th time, here we go again. And it's like, but it's causing slow plodding growth over time, where you're really trying to instill these convictions and practice in your children. Almost like, if you keep going with the tree analogy, like, you have to have a root system that's deep enough in kind of solid ground to be able to carry the weight of what might be an external growth. Sure. And that's what you want for your kids. Like, I want them to be a big, beautiful tree,
flourishing tree
that impacts the world and doesn't just get smashed on the ground because it's all external growth and there's no true depth, roots of their character and all these things that, I hope parents see that as wow, that's really important. Like, that I'm giving my kids that deep root system that's going to carry them through these storms that are going to hit them someday.
And one of the things I love too is, this really, at the ranch, we've really got this down. I don't want to call it a system because there's a lot of, it's prayerful, it's, a lot of, but it really is like a program or a system. And what I love is, this isn't something we just tried a couple years ago. This is something you have been living with, teaching and doing for 20 years, and you've seen the fruit. So, I mean, I would think you would be able to say extremely confidently to a new family coming in, if you do this, if you plod, I promise you will see the fruit.
Yeah, and there's no better place to start than now. I think I talk to a lot of families that are like, it's too late. I should have started this when they were a toddler. Now they're 15. But there's part of that that's right. You are going to have a tougher path than if you had 10 years of practice behind this. Yeah. But that's why we're here. We're on your team. Yeah. We're going to, work at this to just get things up to speed with a process that is giving your child choices, giving them consequences, practicing a lot, but don't give up. But you're going to meet a lot of opposition at first.
Sure.
And so.
Sure. I am interested, though. You talk about this kind of different stages of starting.
Yeah.
How does this model system, how does it apply maybe to younger kids versus older kids? It seems like conceptually it's the same, but how would you apply it if somebody's listening? They're like, listen, I've got a 3, 5, and 7-year-old. That's different than a 13, 15, 17-year-old. How would you apply those two?
Yeah, with my kids, I mean, I think when you set it up, you can still have the convictions, you can still think of behaviors. They just have to, when you set it up, it's just got to be more simple, language-wise, so a little child can understand it. Yes. And a little child's very experiential, so you do have a little more power, with a child, but they're also more needy of you to direct them, to help them regulate their emotions and their, that they're feeling and understand that. With my girls, I would use simple language of like fun and not fun. Like if they were doing something that was not fun, I'd be like, hey, that's not fun. And that if you keep doing not fun, time out. Or something simple like not fun, time out. You know, and you just give them a warning, and then the next time it's not fun, it's like, hey, we're going to sit on your timeout pad, and even that's a training, because we would try and get a little pad that they sat on, and they could see a little blinking light go down, and it was like, I think at first it was like 30 seconds that they had to sit. So I was training them how to sit and have some self-restraint and want to get back up, and so it was kind of a steady, I like timeout pads, but it was a lot of practice, a lot of, you know, if it's behavioral and they're like, she's hitting her sister or something like that, it's like, oh, not fun, time out. Yeah. But then checking in of like, hey, how can we have fun together? And, you know, using just simple language, I think is helpful, but also give the child plenty of choices. Like, and this is where it can get really fun, because as a parent, you're way smarter than your child. You know,
we hope.
You know what needs to happen generally, structure-wise. So you just have fun with it, and don't give your child too many choices, because that's almost like what's wrong with the world today. Is like you just have way too many choices of things. Like, so as a parent, break it down to like a couple of things, like bedtime. Like bedtime's a good example of like most kids do not want to go to bed.
Right.
So you give them choices. Hey, do you want Superman to your bed or piggyback ride? And they get to choose. It's like, oh, I want Superman. Okay, let's go. Superman to the bed. Okay. Do you want to read Curious George or Where the Wild Things Are? I don't know. Oh, you want Daddy to choose? Okay, well, we'll read Where the Wild Things Are, because it's my favorite book. And you read the book. And then it's like, okay, we're going to pray. Is there somebody you'd like to pray for? Do you want to pray for Nana? Do you want to pray for, so it's like you're giving these like back and forth, you're training them to almost choose. Right. But the two choices are in the direction that you're we're going to bed.
Right.
Like, so it's
and it's not conversational, but it's very connective.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're not having fun, I would say you're kind of doing it wrong, because kids love that back and forth interaction of like,
and they feel empowered.
I mean, still my daughters are like, they're teenagers, and if I was like, hey, do you want a Superman or back? They'd probably be like, what, Superman? Yeah, like, can you still pick me up? Because they'll probably remember like, I can choose, and so.
Well, I know my daughter, she'll, after being at the ranch for a while and different things, like sometimes I would say something like that, and she'd be like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, But even that became like a joke, and it's just fun. It's like, well, tell me what I'm doing. And,
right. So like thinking about that, and your daughter's getting older, and I was like laughing thinking about my oldest, like, God, maybe I could do a Superman. Like, it would be, it'd just be funny, right? Like that example you gave just then, the bedtime routine, was an example of a younger kid.
Yes.
Kind of, even if you were using bedtime, like, talk a little bit about how this might apply with an older kid, how you apply it differently to an older kid in a different developmental stage. Yeah.
So with older kids, I think they want autonomy. They want to be like respected and treated like an adult.
Yeah.
So I think the boundaries just have to get more around maybe a time, because they have a sense of time. Like little kids,
right?
They're just like wide open. But if you have middle school to high schooler, they have a sense of time. They'll have a watch on. They might have an alarm in their room. So it might just be a boundary of, hey, here's what I'm going to do as a parent to build a structure around our household, like around Wi-Fi being cut off at night. You know, I think that's a great option of like, hey, Wi-Fi goes off at 8:30. We're going to put our devices away after dinner. Like, we're going to do all these things. And if there's resistance to it, hey, if you abuse it, you lose it. So it's like, if you try and sneak your phone out of my room at night, it'll get put up for a week if you choose that, or That's just a scenario that, or if it's like, I think the routine is good because it still, if you've been doing it for a while, it's like, okay, it's room time. It's not bedtime. I can't force you to shut your eyes and go to bed, but you're going to go to your room. You can, you can pick that book we got from the library and, hey, lights out by 9:30 or 9 or whatever you determine as a parent needs to be like, okay, it's calm down time. It's not WCW, like jumping off the bed, slamming.
That feels real.
Unless
in
it's
one
like,
of the rooms
okay,
of the Nelson home.
this is connection time. I'm gonna run in and throw you around. But it's more of just having those boundaries of, you can choose this and here's the consequence. If you have something like, hey, we're gonna, conviction might be, we value the health of sleep and how it affects the mind and emotions. And so you have that routine and you're going to ask the child to have their lights out by a certain time, but it's done in a respectful way.
Yes.
It's not done in this, like,
power struggle way.
Power struggle, So.
Autonomy. I like the word autonomy that you used there. Like, I think that was a helpful term for me to think about. Like, that's what we're trying to build in them. And even if we're thinking about, like, we're always training towards adulthood.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're always training towards, one day you're not going to live in my home. And I still think it's valuable that you don't stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
If you got to work at 8. Like, So I still think it's valuable that you don't, sit on your phone all through the night. Like, these are things that I desire for my children. So we're kind of building towards that.
Yeah. And as children get older, that's where you can let them experience a lot of natural consequences.
Yeah.
Like you said, if you stay up really late, that child's going to be really tired in the morning, may be a little more moody in class, gets in trouble, gets detention, gets the bad grade. They come home, they talk to you about it. Hey, you seem tired today,
Yeah.
But it's more of like, help them process it.
Yes.
Like, don't be like, well, it's because you da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
It's like, be like, hey, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, almost like, why do you think that all happened?
Right.
Like, where you have to make this switch where you want your child to, like, pull some of that advice from you, then you pushing the advice.
Yeah, like they come to that conclusion themselves. Yeah.
And if you've had that established relationship and they know your convictions, they have your voice inside their head because you're training them the way they should go, and it won't depart from them, whether they like it or not. It's there, and they know, so you can be kind of compassionate and be like, hey, what do you think you should do to help this? Yeah, I probably shouldn't have stayed up till 12,
right?
Or whatever.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so like recapping, we hit our 5. Let's just like go through them one more time, real quick, kind of make sure we got them. First we're in a training posture. Training posture.
Yes.
Step 1 is
identify your conviction.
Oh, maybe it's a test for us, but
I know.
We're going to stick with you, the expert.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Identify your conviction. Okay. Step 2 is
identify behaviors that lead your child toward the conviction.
Okay.
So real simple.
Step 3.
3 is set it up. So set up choices and consequences that are simple, reasonable, and enforceable.
Okay.
And try to say yes. That's another thing. And I'll get into a little bit of maybe some helpful tools, if we have time.
So do it right now. Now is your time.
Okay. Well, that's some of the key of like developing choice consequence language is an attitude of permission, like as we talked about. But you want to try and say yes. So like when I do this, parents look at me typically glazed over, like, what are you talking about?
Right.
What's controlling language? So I tell them, and then I'll hand them something typically. Like, so that if they're like, want, and they don't hear what I'm saying, they can walk away. So controlling language, and these are words to avoid. I'm not going to say you can't do this because that wouldn't be a choice. So it's no, stop, don't, have to, need to, should, you better, can't, and never. So those are like, a lot of times I'll read that and parents are like, well, I just wouldn't say anything.
I'm like, all my language.
Yes. That's better than you just hounding your kids with controlling language.
All right, so let's
give us
replace it with.
So now you replace it with like choosing statements. So, and we'll try and maybe we can tag this in the, show notes.
Notes.
Like here's something, because you have to kind of tape this to your fridge or somewhere that you can see it on your mirror in your bathroom. So yes, you may blank whatever the child wants to do as soon as, yes, you may go play basketball as soon as you finish your homework.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Like you want your child to do the things, not, where, no, you can't go play basketball. It's like, yeah. Another one's, yes, you may, we'll just go with the basketball. You may play basketball if you finish your chores.
Okay.
If you blank, then blank will happen. So if you choose to run out the door without doing your homework and play basketball, then you'll have an extra chore when you get home. Right. Have fun. So it's like, and like, so it just a couple of statements that are just helpful of like, here's how you practically can fill in the blanks and use that language to give a child a choice.
Right. So give them a choice and then allowing the choice is number 4.
Oh, yes. Very good. Allowing the choice, letting the thing you don't want them to do happen so that they can experience the consequence.
And then number 5
and then 5 is you got to give it. You got to follow through. Giving the consequence.
I always think of the Seinfeld moment. I'm a big Seinfeld fan, where Jerry's at the rental car place and he has a reservation, and the lady's like, "Well, we don't have a car," and he goes, "Well, you don't understand a reservation." She goes, "No, I understand a reservation." She goes, "Anybody can just take a reservation. It's holding the reservation." So it's saying like anybody can just say they're going to give a consequence.
Yes.
It's giving the consequence.
Yes.
Only you, Andy.
I do this all the Jerry's house. Anybody can just take a reservation.
So very great point.
But like all comes down to like, did you actually give the consequence, or did you just like
and practice it?
Tell them you were going to.
Well, and I think too, our program here for kids in our residential program is 18 months to 24 months, and it's because like this doesn't happen overnight. And getting like you talk about it like, oh, it's just but it takes practice and
lots of practice.
Intentionality and all those things.
It takes repetition. Lots of repetition.
All right. Well, I hate to tell you all this, but
it's time.
It's time. John, thank you for coming back and really unpacking that for us today. That was
really good.
Super practical. I just want to thank everyone who tuned in today.
Yep.
And we really hope this episode was encouraging to you and gave you some valuable insights that you can use. And just want to invite you to tune in next week for stories from parents like you, to hear their hard-learned lessons and insights they wish they would have known going through parenting as well.
All right. If you have enjoyed this, leave us a review, Apple, Spotify. We'd love to hear from you. What is it that you want to hear? What do you want to know? You can follow along with us, connect on Facebook, Instagram. We'd love to kind of connect with you as we're on this journey. So thank you, John. Thanks for coming back. Round 2, really fun. Thank you. Have a wonderful week.